Maurice asks a question that I am totally unprepared to bring up. I don't actually know which runner would be ahead. I haven't actually been keeping track of players' scores. Yeah, TPC is kind of dropped off the face of the earth. I guess he had some computer issues, lost out on a keyboard or something like that. So we haven't been seeing a whole lot of TPC. I think that's why the weekly blinds have sort of dissolved into nothing. I wouldn't. I think that there might be one player who is not blind, but honestly, I think if you just added up everybody, it probably wouldn't make any. It probably would be just fine. Yeah, it's kind of. I guess it's kind of weird when you're in an environment like this where everybody is constantly streaming and things like that. You kind of expect people to have top-notch computers, so it feels kind of odd when you get somebody who has a not a bad computer or a weak computer, but a ordinary computer, like a normal person computer. There is Mythical 9. There is the man.
That's me. That's what they call me.
All right, so we're just in time. Looks like everybody is readied up, so I'm going to drop out of the race. And we're going to get started just a little bit earlier here.
I'm going to get started opening 4 different Twitch streams and moving them to the 4 corners of my monitor.
Nico,
I don't know what to
good.
type into these yet, though. I need some names.
Yeah, I've got Puffer King, Pika Pals, Draconic Dawn, and Withheld. Nico's always louder than Myth. Let me turn Myth up just a skosh.
Here's me talking. Here's me getting turned up. Look out. Whoa, I'm getting louder.
That's about as loud as I could make Myth right now, so hopefully that's good enough.
I can turn this microphone towards me a little bit too. That'll probably help.
So we're launching in here to Chapter 5. So unlike the previous chapter where we spent a lot of time just wandering around aimlessly in the countryside, this chapter we're starting off with another town here. So we've got all our players talking to NPCs, getting all of this sweet lore, where we're learning about the ancient Captain Bell, who is the father of the islands.
Now, is this a figure of history that I just don't know about, or is this made up for the game?
I believe this is made up for the game, although there was a real captain, was it Captain Cook, who did famously block a strait with his ship during a war.
Oh man, never has there been a more relevant time to play Startropics, I suppose.
How on the other hand, in history, they just shot his ship and sank it. But
okay, well, we got to learn from our past, right? We got a problem we can fix now. You should alert the proper authorities.
Yeah, I'll have to look this up now.
So Chapter 5 is back to the standard formula that was sort of established in Chapter 1 and 2. Chapter 3 had 5 dungeons. Chapter 4 had no dungeons. But back to 5, you explore around, you solve some puzzles, you talk to some people, then you do a dungeon. Nice and clean.
It's definitely not Captain Cook. I have to keep looking on this, but just so we don't give more fake lore, since that was an issue last time. Yeah, so our players are moving along. So it looks like we've already got Puffer King has already found the other part of the island. This is a part that can get kind of tricky. Withheld also finding the secret dive spot that takes you to the far east end of the island.
And we got Pufferfish King is poking around in these mountains trying to find the secret path. I think it's gone the wrong way. You pop out in a dead end here. It's a little bit nasty. I happen to just go the right way, but it's hard to tell. Right here, yeah, okay, there it is. There's the transition point. Pufferfish King has found that now.
Draconic Don had a little bit of trouble there. Must have missed an NPC because that guard wouldn't let him through. These guards are very sharp-eyed. They're making sure to see that you're talking to everybody in that town, and if they see you skip one person, they know that you're not a true RPG adventurer and you're not to be trusted.
I mean, if RPG adventures like kind of aren't meant to be if you knew what they were about, you would know that like they go through people's things looking for potions. They're just opening up chests in people's houses. $100, yeah, I'll take it. Will I use it on something good, or I don't know? I'm just gonna take it from you.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of games kind of point that out. I think Earthbound was the one that like had the most pointed thing where you like go into a restaurant and you just start walking from table to table, and one of the NPCs is like, "Why are you walking from table to table?" I know other RPG heroes do that, but like, could you be more discreet about it?
So when you bring the parrot here, Peter, a worm, Peter begins to talk and says, well, something a little bit lewd. I don't even know if I should repeat it, honestly.
It's musical. It's okay. When you do it in a musical format, it's okay. He says, do me so far, do me. Which this is one point I debated whether I'd put this in or not, because to me it's sort of like the musical scale do re mi fa sol la ti. That's sort of like an obvious thing that you know, like the alphabet. But I hesitate to assume that people would necessarily know that. So we've kind of been a little bit generous here, and we've given the players a bit of a hint by putting a musical scale in the paste bin just so that there's no confusion at all. Since this is like one of the few just straight up puzzles in the game.
Yeah, I was overthinking this a little bit. There's an NPC who's like a bard who sings a song, and I guess maybe the paste bin had me thinking like, oh, I'm gonna need a musical series or something at some point. And the bard has like a me and a so in the song, and I tried to put that in, but it's not that. It's the parrot. So looks like who is it? It's Pufferfish King. I'm not sure if Pufferfish King has been to the parrot. Oh no, if it says doe, then I'm pretty sure that you have, right?
I think it'll say doe whenever you do it, and that's the only hint that you get.
I think this is gonna be it. Yeah.
Alright, so it's Puffer into the dungeon first. Make an excellent time here.
On Kickstarter for a tower defense game, your town defends against the hero coming into all the houses, plundering and breaking stuff. Kefka backed it on creative concept alone, but it never met its goal.
That sounds... I like that idea. One that I liked was a game called Synopsis Quest, which was it was a flash game, and it was a series of little vignettes that you would click. Like you had a menu and you'd click them, and they're all like little, not quite WarioWare, but like standalone puzzles. Where one of them's like One of them you have to play as a villager. It's like you have to talk to all of the NPCs, because that's what you do in an RPG. And usually there were like little tricks, like when you were talking to the NPCs, one of the NPCs talks for a long time, and while they're talking, the hero enters town and runs by you, so you have to scroll through their text really fast to catch the hero, to tell him welcome to Corneria. And there's one where it's like loot all of the pots in the town or something like that. And the catch is that if you just check all of the pots, you fail, because there's something hidden under the table, and you have to realize that you have to search under the table too. It was brief and amusing, and played on a lot of RPG tropes.
Well, Pufferfish King tried to explore underneath the bottomless pit, and it was a little bit amusing. This snake-like sort of structure collapses behind you, and Pufferfish went down for the heart and then went back up and just barely didn't get there in time, and then an errant jump has caused another death, actually. So this is not going to be a first round clear, I think, in this dungeon.
Yeah, it looks like he's already taken an intentional death here. So this dungeon is very different than the ones before. Previously, we had a lot of like boss or puzzle heavy dungeons. This one is it's lots of traps. We've got collapsing walkways and things that are going to that the player are going to have to dodge, which is a good warm up, because we're going to see a lot more bosses later on. So this is a kind of a nice shift in the theme of these dungeons before we get into the end game, which is just going to be a lot of aggressive combat against bosses.
I think Pufferfish King is doing the same thing that I think I did, and didn't even think to not do until I was watching Bug Doctor's record run, where there's like when you're jumping on that snake, you just kind of get locked into following the snake on its path. But there's a spot where you can jump straight across, and you would of course thought to do that elsewhere, but something about the snake kind of guiding you on a path makes it just a little bit difficult to spot. And I thought it was curious. I was like, I wonder if everyone is going to do the same thing, or if I'm bad. But so far, the first person has missed it, so I'm slightly vindicated.
So Pika Pals here has noticed something. He noticed that the slug on the left side of the starting room hit the slug, went over there, did nothing, thought, oh, this must just be a red herring. That's actually a clue that's trying to hit to the players that there is a secret in that first room, but the catch is you don't go left, you go right. If you go right, the players will notice immediately that room scrolls, and that'll be a very strong hint that, oh, there's a secret over here, and there's several hearts in the first room. Since once you have exhausted that heart container on your first death, you're not going to have any more life, and you're going to want to pick up those hearts so that you can have some life for this dungeon.
Things do not look good for Pika Pals here. Okay, yeah, the game is just going to drop him into the pit at the end. I missed it. I killed the slug. I thought that slug was suspicious, but I didn't figure it out. And I remember some of my chat was like trying to hint to me. So I'm again. It looks like it's tricky, right? We haven't seen it caught by either of the two players who have entered the dungeon yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of hidden items, and that's going to be a big deal in this last part of the race, because there's a lot of challenging battles here, and the players are going to want to have as much of that those heart containers, those magic potions, as they can find to keep that morning star, the shooting star, I'm corrected, up, because that's just that extra damage, that extra range. It just dramatically increases your survivability when you don't have it.
So Pufferfish King still in the lead. I've lost track of our other two racers, Dawn and Withheld, how they're doing in their progress towards the dungeon. Looks like Dawn's still trying to talk to every single NPC.
Yeah, so it looks like, I think Withheld got the worm, gave the worm to Peter. So did Don. Both players have talked to Peter and gotten the song. I thought Withheld went to the shrine, or perhaps she didn't find the shrine yet. No, she seems to know where the passage is. Now, there is a catch here that if you play the wrong song and then you try to fix it, it doesn't work. You have to play the song and then leave if you make a mistake.
And if I remember right, you specifically noted that in the paste bin.
I did note that in the paste bin, because that's one that would just be a tremendous waste of your time. Oh no, Withheld... Oh no, wait, never mind. Alright, Withheld's fine. I'm panicking over nothing.
Moving on to the dungeon now, and it looks like maybe Dawn's gonna get there as well. I think maybe Dawn never found the mountain path. Was poking around in there a lot.
Withheld spots that suspicious wall immediately. It's kind of tricky to spot that wall. It's not that different, although if you walk up the stairs, it turns a very notable shade of purple. So I think all of the players will get that heart container if they go in the room, although some of them might miss it on the first shot.
Pufferfish King has taken death to try to refill lives before heading into the dungeon, and Pika Pals has made a go of it, has explored this sort of first major crossroads area here.
Withheld also sees this very suspicious slug. Nope, still misses the secret passage. You can also see there's the little shading on the bottom right. There's that as well, but the slug, I think, is the big hint to say, oh, you should pay attention, because a lot of these dungeons have starting rooms that are just empty. So kind of playing with your expectations.
So Pika Pals has fallen a number of times in this room down below where these stakes are stabbing all around. I'm guessing this top left is trapped on both sides.
Yeah, the bottom right is the only way that you can advance here.
Has tried all the tiles one by one, so as confirmed, it is completely cut off from this angle. The big trick is there is a sort of just a, it's sort of a secret path, like you've seen before, but it just takes you from one side of the room to the other. In sort of the top middle of the room, there is a way to go through the wall there, and it turns out it's essential to getting around all of these holes in the floor.
Withheld has decided to just, this is her tile, this is her safe place.
Not for long.
Oh, I should start the timer. Thank you, Simple Sarah. Let's see.
It looks like we should be at about 16 minutes on the timer now.
Yeah.
Okay, just in time is Draconic Dawn. And full-on hearts, too. The tricky traps of this dungeon took away everyone's initial full health at the start of the dungeon, and that really limits your ability to explore, right? You don't really expect to beat the whole dungeon on your first go, but you get pretty far in when you've got full health, and you see more and you learn more quicker, so it can be a big factor, and that's an advantage now that Draconic Dawn has. Pufferfish King had to kind of guess what the floor was going to do.
Yeah, that's an especially cruel room because you've got all those tiles, and your immediate thought is any one of these tiles could have a switch.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, Pika Pal's still not jumping over that little gap there.
I got really quiet again? What?
I don't know. You're coming up pretty loud on my thing. You're managing to get to the yellow.
Oh withheld has found a new corner to call home for all of a couple seconds. Pika Palace clears the room, only has 1 life and gets +2 to go back up to 3. You know what I just realized? If you are clever and make that jump across, that's probably enough to, like, get more hearts and then get back.
It is. Because especially every time you die and you go back to 3 hearts, it's really hurting because you really want to have that ranged attack. Lets you kill these, basically all of the enemies, because at this point in the game, you don't have any more one-hit enemies. Everything it takes at least 2 hits. So you really just want to be able to kill them in 1 hit and just get on with it.
Pika Palace has fought back up to that shooting star upgrade. And Draconic Dawn still has it. So let's see if Pika Palace can hold on to it in this room. It's probably identified the center is, even if it does not have a switch, it probably is, you know, safe, at least for a little bit. Finds the switch and escapes, but the bowling ball is coming. Look out.
And you don't want to mess with this bowling ball. I don't know if this one is instant death, but it hurts really bad. You definitely don't want to get hit by this.
I had a really good run. I think my first run might have got pretty far into the dungeon, and it got ruined. I just got completely destroyed by one of these bowling balls, and then didn't have the knowledge of the hearts and everything, so recovering from 3 hearts from there was extremely difficult. So yeah, it can be kind of unfortunate how a small mistake can have such huge consequences in this game, but that's just something that players are going to have to deal with.
So Puffer King reached the crossroads, expertly dodged these little metal balls, and then jumped into the next room, and it had one of the instantly sinking tiles in it. So you jump in, and then if you don't jump instantly, you're dead. And so his reward is he gets to start the level over again.
Dawn at the start of the dungeon withheld as well. Basically just Pika Pals who's getting anything done right now.
Simple Sarah correcting me and saying the bowling balls are instant death. We did see Pika Pals hit the bowling ball with his weapon. And that's important because when you hit the bowling ball, it does stun it. And that's absolutely critical because you're going to see some of these balls are more aggressive than others. You wouldn't think to talk about the artificial intelligence that has been applied on a bowling ball, but that is a thing that happens here in Startropics.
Yeah, I hadn't actually picked up on that when I was playing, but I saw it when I was checking out some of the other gameplay to prep for commentary. That are even like color coded.
Draconic Dawn not jumping over that extra tile. That would have saved 2 jumps. Our players are doing pretty well so far, though. I'd say that I think most of them have gotten almost to the halfway point now. We've got Pika Pals has made it to the halfway point. I know that Pufferfish made it, took a death. Draconic Dawn I think, got pretty close to it as well. Yeah, here we are.
Dodges the green bowling ball. It's a little bit faster.
Yeah, that's where it starts getting tougher if you don't know you can attack the bowling ball.
Whenever you see these 3 platforms in a row, you got to be thinking about all the other times where they would all retreat into the floor really quick. So there was a hesitation there from Pika Pals to watch and see, is that what I'm dealing with? Let's see if they identify there's something fishy about this room. Well, trying to baseball bat the big purple people eater.
Yeah, really the normal yo-yo is probably a better weapon for those guys because you just want to hammer them down as they're approaching you.
Yeah, I get the impulse because the fact that the bat hits all around you means it's hitting on those diagonals. So, you know, we've talked before about how dangerous it is to be diagonally one square away from an enemy, but if you can hit them from there, you know you're safe. So you can take advantage of that fact, and I get the impulse, but it just turns out the bat is slow enough that you don't stun anything very long with it. It doesn't do a lot of damage, and it leaves you vulnerable for so long.
We've been seeing a lot of that in this race, too. A lot of players getting the baseball bat and thinking, man, I want to hit something with this baseball bat, but the baseball bat as a weapon kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I think the first time you get a baseball bat, they put you in a room where there's 4 of those starfish enemies that move at diagonals, and that's really convenient. That, man, you can hit all 4 of them with one attack, and then that's like the last time the baseball bat is useful in this game.
Yeah, the first and only. So we saw the room with the floors, the jumping tiles that sink, and I just noticed the particularly mean part about it is that as the screen first scrolls in, those tiles are green. They're solid, and then in the blink of an eye, they change color, and you realize what's about to happen, and indeed probably already has happened to you by the time your brain processes it, if you're a human, and you fall into the ocean. So I think anyone who goes into that room is basically going to have that happen to them.
I mean, we talked about it, that we're not having any more of these, you go into a room and then you're dead and you have absolutely no opportunity to defend yourself, which we've seen a couple of times. But this game continues to throw new variations on the you're dead and you really never had a chance.
There are some hearts up here, though. And
yeah.
These are worthwhile for sure. That is a shooting star upgrade for Pika Pals now.
Oh, Draconic Dawn finding out that you can stop the bowling ball with your yo-yo, but only momentarily. That bowling ball is just infused with the energy of Captain Bell, who is a notorious bowler, and that bowling energy will not let it stop until it manages to strike down the pins in that split that he got in the year 1787. That he never was able to rest in peace, having never been able to make that split.
He cursed it. On his deathbed, he was like, "So help me God, I will pick up that spare." But he never did, and the pure malice of his despair drives this thing forwards. So we've got Withheld exploring around in this tricky stake holes in the floor area here. Obviously, the players are... Wait. Okay, yeah, there it is blocked over there. Just making sure. You can see on the floor, like, okay, I need to go left, right? But working it backwards from there can be a little bit tricky.
Yeah, it's too subtle to necessarily be that helpful. But if you watch the rats won't walk on the sinking tiles. So if you just stood somewhere and you watched the rats for a while, that could be a hint.
Pika Pals is in the room. That is the way to progress. This was something that took me a while to notice. Something was fishy about the room, and I noted it, and I did not think to use any of my items or explore further, and it cost me. It took me a while to find this, and it's looking like it might take some of our players a while to find this as well.
Yeah, the game is a little bit explicit with it. It gives you this rod of sight, which we saw in the previous goal, so they know what it does. And one generous thing is that every time you loop back to this room, it gives you another one. You move away just enough that it respawns that item. So it tries to put that back in your mind by saying, hey, remember this thing I gave you? Maybe you should pay attention to it.
If you used it in all of the wrong rooms and it ran out, here's another one. The green bowling ball is really scary. It's just really quick. Potion just out of reach for Pika Pals. Pufferfish King is going to be able to claim these hearts now. That's going to get him up to full health. Withheld unfortunately sees some hearts out of reach. Has reached the collapsing spiral room. What? She barely gets across. And she's one tile away from the corner. Okay, she found it. And Pika Pals has found the suspicious tile everywhere else in the game where those connected spikes have been there. They've sort of been boxing in an area, sort of defining a boundary that you can't cross. And this one has a gap in it. There's a tile there, so you should be asking yourself why. And it turns out using the Rod of Sight will reveal a ghost that opens up the way to the rest of the dungeon.
Yeah, the Rod of Sight's
so nasty. Those hearts. Okay,
the Rod of Sight's also useful for getting that potion room as well. So really, just using that in every room is a huge advantage to the players because that gets them some more goodies.
It's interesting how I've had all these tendencies when I played this game, and I assumed any success I had or any failure I had was something that would be pretty unique to my experience. But I'm seeing all of the players make all of the same mistakes. All of us missed this secret in the first room. All of us took a while to use the Rod of Sight. Well, so far, took a while to use the Rod of Sight in the proper place. Just mostly like neglecting the Rod of Sight, right? Like shouldn't you be using that in every room? Basically, it's got a lot of uses on it. You never know what could be a secret in any room. Any wall could explode and lead to a potion. But yeah, it's just kind of dropped out of everyone's heads. It dropped out of mine. I can't explain why, but there's something going on.
All right, we see Draconic Dawn defeats the Purple People Eater. Withheld takes a bowling ball to the teeth.
Yeah, now she's got a 7-10 split in her mouth. Just the molars back there.
Alright, so Don has done this loop the first time. So I think Don is now in the mentality of, okay, I don't know how to progress. Oh.
I had the presence of mind to not say anything further and just let it happen.
It's beautiful. Hell, jumping off of that tile at the last possible second. Although I do like recognizing that he was dead, Don at least had the presence to, alright, well, let's use the rod. Might as well.
A ghost emerges and catches him, pulls him out of the water. Who knows?
I mean, we've seen invisible letters written with disappearing ink. We've seen the island that nobody can find because it's in the very center of the map, and why on earth would you know where the center of the map is?
That's true. That's one thing we've seen that did not match up with my experiences playing the game at all. I was hoping for more of that. Well, we got plenty more Startropics left to go. Withheld is back in the rat room. Knows what the deal is in here. And there's the ghost that you were saying.
Yep. So that's going to be helpful for Don. That's going to get him a potion.
So, how many hearts does the potion heal?
I think it's 5 hearts. Which means unless you're...
Here's a question. Do you use it now to get your shooting star, or do you hold on to it?
I think Don decided to use it to get the shooting star, which is not a bad idea. If you don't have a plan in place already to get to the shooting star, you might as well grab it.
Yeah, I think it's probably right. I think it's probably greedy to be like, well, maybe there's some hearts in the next room, and then I'll waste it. Like, you probably, if you can seize an advantage for yourself in this game, you should probably take it when you get it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that if you didn't have those hearts, you're probably just going to die. Whereas having the shooting star, it dramatically increases your survivability. Hitting enemies at range and killing them in half as many hits, that's a bigger deal than anything else. And it's good to see our players all remembered how the mirror works, since we saw that in the previous segment. This is the second and the last time we're going to see the mirror. We saw the wizard enemies in the ghost tunnel, and now we've got these ghost pirates, and that's it. We're not going to see any more mirror enemies again. So this game really doesn't hang on any particular enemies. That it keeps coming up with new monster types as you progress, which is really nice. That you're not feeling like the game is getting stale on you.
So Pika Pals is going through the path through the spikes, and we've got a couple other players that are close. Conic Don, I think, is one room away, and is using the Rod of Sight, I think, basically in every room along the way, so that's a good sign.
And we don't have Muware up on the restream. Muware is in the race chat, though, and is really unimpressed. I think Muware found the room with the sinking tiles, since he has noted that this is a very cruel game.
Withheld poking around. Hasn't quite figured out what's going on. Pufferfish King now also has an opportunity to figure out what to do in this room, but looks like I think this might be Puffer's first time through this area, so definitely pretty natural to open up a new door and want to just go in it rather than suspect there's a secret way to go.
And I don't know if the players have picked up on it yet. It's not likely that you would necessarily notice. But when you open up a door by breaking the wall, that door will stay open even if you leave the room. Whereas if you open up a door because there was a door there and you made the door disappear, that will lock again when you re-enter the room. So if you unlock a door by opening the wall, by blowing it open, you can go through that door and feel confident that if I turn around and go back, I can still come back this way.
The red bowling ball means business. Yeah, Maurice, definitely. It got Pika Pals. Pika Pals knows that you can attack the ball to stun it, but you do not have a lot of time to step out from one of those little hiding holes. You know, face the ball, not run towards the ball, right? Make sure you don't do that, which thankfully is a little bit easy thanks to that sort of buffer before you start moving. And get the attack in, is trying to stun it from the alcove, but can't quite get enough space to get into that square.
I mean, it's a traumatic death. There was a motionless bowling ball there. Pika Pal's trying to turn the corner, just whacks the side of his skull on it as he walks by and collapses.
I do this. I'll get up in the night and I need a glass of water or something, and the lights are off, and I'll try to just whatever. I'm fine. I know this place I live. I'll be fine. and like bang my shoulder on a doorway or something, and just get completely taken out. Normally I don't die though.
Normally?
That's a video game thing. Yeah. There was that one time. I don't really like to talk about it. Oh, okay, Pika Pals had to make a decision about what to do. Going behind the ball is a good idea. It will keep rolling. I'm actually not sure how the game is tracking it, if it's like perfectly tracking its movements off screen, or if it's kind of fudging it a little bit.
I'm sure that it has something to do with subpixels.
Alright, so Pufferfish King, second time Puffer's been in this room now and knows that they're stuck in a loop until they do something, so this would be the time to do something, definitely.
Although there's also the issue that this is the farthest point away from the rod, so it's just long enough to forget that that's a thing you actually have.
Yeah, and it doesn't appear in your sub-weapon list, right? You have to go into the pause menu to even see it, so you don't have that even visual reminder on screen. Out of sight, out of mind, they say. You know, I think maybe now I've dialed in on part of why this has been so tricky for our players, and myself included. The ghosts, you were constantly running into the ghosts and being reminded, like, oh, there's this invisible presence around me, and so you were more mindful that this rod might reveal ghosts. And in this dungeon, there's nothing. They're only hiding in walls where they'll never hurt you. They're purely used as a means to open these passages.
Oop, Puffer misses the jump there and sinks on the instant death tile.
Reacts accordingly after spawning directly in front of a bowling ball. Ooh, look at this pause. Oh, okay. I thought withheld was pause buffering to try to get through this low health room. But I think maybe it was just going for the rod. Dual purpose, it worked out. And here's the key moment, using the rod in the top left corner of this loop.
And it's also, so this game has a lot of cruel moments. You know, it kills you instantly and you have to redo a room and things like that. But there's also a lot of parts where it's kind of generous, like this room with the 2 purple people eaters. Once you know that you need to use the rod to reveal the ghost, you realize you don't actually have to fight any of those enemies. You can just ignore them.
That's actually a good point brought up by Sarah in the chat, is that I played this game in 2 sittings, whereas these players have been playing it every week for a couple hours, so if that's not how you typically play video games, sometimes you just straight up forget stuff. Don is trying to use the baseball bat. I actually got one of these dodos on the backswing. Unfortunately, the windup was just a little bit too long on this last dodo.
Yeah, it's another one of those where on paper you think, oh, it's great, I can hit him and from an angle, I can hit him around a corner. But in practice, you want to get in front of him and you just want to whack him with the yo-yo and just it's done. I still don't think we've seen a single one of these players jump over that tile in that first snake room.
Yeah, it's a big difference. I think it's actually 3 jumps it saves, right? It's up, left, down.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. So you save yourself 3 whole jumps. That's definitely enough to go to the right and to the left to get more hearts. I'm not sure if there's a half jump leeway or 1 jump leeway, such that you could get all 3 hearts. I'm not sure about that, but definitely 2 extra hearts, definitely a shooting star right off the bat. It's a pretty big deal, and it's just sitting there. But I guess there's not really much value to the shooting star before you get to this crisscross room that Draconic Dawn is in right now. And I think all the players at this point know you can go north to get some hearts, and that will get you up to shooting star.
Yeah, once you've gotten comfortable with buffering your jumps so that you can jump across the instant death tiles. Ooh, Puffer King having a lot of trouble here with the controls, accidentally pushing the button too long and walking onto the tile. That's not what we normally see as an issue, but that it creates this awkward situation where you've walked onto the tile with the enemy, and then suddenly it's, I need to get off of this tile. This hurts, but you walk in the same direction as the enemy. It's like, oh no, wait, that was even worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's another thing that was a rare difference in the sequel that made it harder. The sequel really toned down on your invulnerability frames to the point where if you walk on top of an enemy, you basically just die instantly because you just take damage continuously while you're in their hitbox.
Oh, look at this idea from Pika Pals, trying to redirect the orb into an up-down sort of motion. Or trying to stop it or something, right?
Yeah, I
really
think
like
you
the
can.
idea.
I don't think you can actually do that. I think once you get these guys going, they won't ever stop.
Yeah, and I think that I'm not sure it's possible to get through without taking a hit, to be honest.
You can, but you have to time it really carefully.
I definitely know the speedrun just plows through the first one. Oh, the spike was waiting to catch Pika Pal, so that's a death. Thankfully, the checkpoint is right here in this room.
I think at this point, all of the players have found the ghost, which is good.
Withheld found her ghost, unfortunately dying. But has the knowledge and still has some progress. Draconic Dawn's looking really healthy, and yeah, I'm pretty sure has found the ghost, like you said.
Or maybe not.
Or maybe this is all about the potion. Oh, no, definitely suspect something in there. Okay, here we go. Pika Pal's out in front, has been the leader in this dungeon. Basically the first time Pika Pal's overtook Pufferfish. And has held that lead all the way through. Is now very far into the dungeon.
Yeah, actually, if Pika Pals can get to the next room, I don't think it's possible to die in the last room. Very suspicious about this curious tunnel. There we go.
I didn't realize the game actually locks you in this room.
Which is good. Yeah, and there's no way for you to die in this room because there's no way to jump into the pit. So eventually he should be able to solve this.
Draconic Dawn, with full health and an angry red bowling ball, knows how to stun it. It's coming back, though. Got that really close. Pika Pals, 1, 2, 3, abracadabra.
That's exactly how it works. And that's it. We've solved it.
And by solved it, you mean exploded in an ancient ship.
And here we play God Save the Queen, also known as My Land 'Tis of Thee, a popular patriotic song that I believe it was originally the national anthem for the United States until they wrote the Star Spangled Banner. Or I think they later adopted the Star Spangled Banner.
I was kind of surprised. Like I was like, oh, that's cute. God Save the Queen, and then it kept going, and I was like, oh, they're gonna do the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah, so that
is the end of chapter 5.
So it's a good thing we managed to sink that ship. It would have been impossible to navigate that without another vessel that's capable of going underwater.
I mean, you need the dark spot. You gotta. Oh, actually, we got a dungeon clear as well from Draconic Dawn, very shortly behind Pika Pals, keeping it close.
Like that hesitation, jump on the tile and nothing happens, and you wait a moment to think, well? So, moving on, 2 of our players moving on to Chapter 6. Chapter 6 is odd. It's by a huge margin. It's the biggest overworld map. And it's also just the overworld map with the least really going on. We've got lots of villages here. There's some NPCs to talk to. And they really don't have anything useful to tell you. This is sort of a nice cool down before the game just is going to get really serious on us.
Yeah. I definitely remember Chapter 6 being a marked increase in difficulty. The traps and stuff of Dungeon 5 were tricky, and of course we saw all the things the players struggled with in Chapter 3, but 6 definitely steps it up. It's just plain and simple. Everything does damage. There's more enemies. You got less health, at least that I found. So hopefully our players came ready to play. I know a lot of them were kind of concerned about difficulty after day 1, and we'll see how they feel about it once this day's over, I guess.
So we also see Don is starting this chapter having some difficulty figuring out which way to go, which it's really weird because I think there was never any question in my mind which way you were supposed to go in this game.
Yeah, I think I was always just holding the direction that the sub was facing at the start, and then that got me somewhere where there was a landmark, and from there it was pretty straightforward.
And then we also have, every time the players park their submarine and then get back on it, Navcom pipes up and tells you, hey, we've got coordinates, and he spits out a sequence of digits, and you're like, oh, holy crap, am I supposed to be writing this down now?
Secret heart has been found by Pika Pals, going up to, I was gonna say 11, but I think it's actually 12. Yeah, it's 11 across.
Yeah, this game really throws you off because you're used to like playing Legend of Zelda, and you've got like maximum of 20 hearts. No, this one goes up to a maximum of 22.
I totally thought you were gonna do a Spinal Tap joke there. These hearts go to 11.
Oh, that's good. I wish I had thought of that. Yeah, this chapter is also unusual. This is the only chapter in the game that has 2 heart containers in it, and I think it's because of that there is a little bit of a bug in this game that you can exploit. Not that helpful. The second heart container, if you grab it and save your game and go back, that heart container will respawn. And you can collect that heart container as many times as you want, and you can actually max out your health in this chapter. But it doesn't do you any good because as soon as you beat the chapter, it just automatically sets you to the correct number of hearts in the next chapter.
That's still pretty valuable for this chapter, though. We just talked about how difficult the dungeon is. Having almost twice as much health, as tedious as it would be to do the whole process, it would be a huge help. Again, really, I don't see any players saving and reloading the game mid-race, though, unfortunately. Here we have a row of several dive spots available to Pika Pals.
You get this paralysis of, like, which one should I check first? And you just check them all. And it's not that hard.
Yeah, it's almost a relief when you find the correct one last, because it means that you can pretty reasonably assume the others all connect to each other and you've explored them all. Whereas if you found the right one right away, you might progress forwards, or you might think, well, where did those other ones go?
All right, we go.
The dungeon continues for Withheld.
Yeah, Withheld topping off those hearts. So I like what Withheld's doing here. This is what I did, where there's a temptation to go from north to south, but having two of these balls going in the same row, you're begging to get hit. So I like how Withheld abandoned the room to the right so that it would reset the cannonballs or whatever, so that you could do another 90-degree angle. That's how I like to play that room. So I like that that's a strategy that she picked up on as well.
North 3. Pika Pals has found the spot.
Can you exit the first half of the dungeon? I thought once you dive, you can't. Can you undive?
Not sure. Unfortunately, Withheld is down to 5.5 hearts, so the shooting star is just tantalizingly out of reach. Now, she's not going left, so I'm trying to remember if it was Withheld who found the potion.
Yeah, I might be going for a potion.
Here comes the dungeon of Chapter 6 now for Pika Pals. A new power-up is introduced. The shirt turns orange. And you gotta wonder, these platforms are pretty far away. Yep, Pika Pals goes for it, and you do have a much larger jump. Well, I say much larger. It goes one extra tile. But it turns out, one extra tile compared to 2 tiles is still a pretty big increase. Oh. Alright, got a little bit scary with some of these mummies. Draconic Dawn still exploring around a little bit. Had some of the most trouble on stream with the overworld section of Chapter 5. But I think they're most of the way through the overworld here on 6.
Yeah, I think they're getting pretty close. And once we get, pretty much this is the last time when navigating an overworld is actually a thing. The game is going to get really constricted in a hurry here. Pika Pals on one of the low-scale, sort of challenging rooms, in that we've got a little maze of tiles here, but suddenly you can jump 2 tiles as well as 1. So you've got this idea that you've been playing through 5 chapters of this game. You've got an idea of how to navigate these rooms, and all of a sudden the game is telling you now you have to rethink how you can navigate rooms.
Yeah, really. Oh, the mummies are chasing Pika Pals pretty bad. Still has the shooting star, though, and has some hearts in the middle that they can not only grab, but use as a safe spot to attack the rest of the mummies.
Yeah, this mummy room is also notable in that we mentioned in Chapter 3, at the end of Chapter 3, there was that one area that had the invisible tiles that you could jump on. This is the only other room in the game that has invisible tiles. You can jump to the right from the door, and there is a couple of invisible tiles you can jump on to get another try your luck for extra lives sign.
Oh. Pika Pals just kind of assumed, why would these blocks be here if I couldn't jump to them? And didn't quite think it through all the way, just jumped first, asked questions later, ended up in the water, unfortunately. Draconic Dawn is just about to begin the dungeon proper. And Withheld would really love to get those hearts! Ugh. But still has 2 lives, and that checkpoint is, of course, right there, so... If anything, actually, that puts her in a position to have the shooting star right now, so... Might actually save time in the long term, except these spear traps are just horrible. Just blindly throwing out jumps.
Yeah, I think the thing that's really throwing Withheld off is that if you just keep walking, those spear traps will miss you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, she's gonna back up. Draconic Dawn starting the dungeon. Withheld unable to turn around quick enough to stop the bowling ball. Still has 1 more life. The big heart between the first and second dungeon can be duplicated. Neat. And that's one where it would make the biggest difference, because you really don't have a lot of hearts. Though I guess if it's not helping you get to a shooting star, it also is kind of worth less in that regard. Pufferfish King's pretty far along, but walks up into a projectile, unfortunately, and that was his last life, so game overs for both of our players who were still back in Chapter 5.
Hey, Withheld's doing the jump over the gap.
Yeah, someone in chat pointed out that they think they saw Withheld get it.
There's just enough time for Withheld to grab every one of those double hearts. That's a total of 6 hearts. Yeah, Withheld is just assuming you have to jump over every one of these arrow traps. That's just... Yeah, that's just creating more problems.
It's, we got Pika Pals jumping the gun a little bit. That door was not open. Yeah, it's... When you're in a blind race, I mean, Startropics is kind of a difficult game and a tricky game, so I could see players having all kinds of approaches. But generally, in a blind race, your first approach is to just kind of take the path of least resistance and then see what happens. And then if something bad happens, you adjust accordingly. So I think a lot of players have just been like, well, how about I just keep going? And then it turns out it works out pretty good. So I expect to see that be the case for kind of most of our players, and it's really unfortunate that Withheld's got this in her head that this is how this has to be dealt with.
Yeah, it took some of our players a while to get through the rat room, but they all picked it up on it pretty quickly. Falco is saying that it's a 50-50 chance to get hit on some of the arrow traps. Interesting.
There was one that hit me, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I didn't stop, but maybe I was wrong. But I think maybe I was right, and I just lost this 50-50. Maybe that happened to Withheld, and she was like, oh, I can't just run past, I have to do something else, and that's why she's doing this now.
Yeah, that's a fair assumption.
So Pika Pals is yet to spot, well, definitely has seen the tile. The first time Pika Pals left this room, he looked over to the right and glanced at that tile, and sort of like longingly or maybe curiously, but did not think about an invisible tile, and I think that one's pretty tricky. I'll be a little surprised if anyone manages to get that in this race. But what a big help it would be. I'm pretty sure it's a potion you get for it.
I think it might be a potion, and I think there's a try your luck sign too. Oh, nice. Pika-Pal's.
Good damage.
Pika-Pal's taking good advantage of these side tiles.
I actually got a hit in up front. And that's enough for a kill.
There we go. We beat the boss. The dungeon's over.
Yep. Victory music. Smooth sailing. Expect the dot done any moment. Just kidding.
Yeah, this is where the game starts really getting serious, because it's like one boss. That's baby games. This isn't this isn't Elmo's Letter Adventure. This is Startropics. So now it's at least 2 bosses per dungeon segment.
Here's a fun little thing where the floor on this side is marked, so you go through, and then you come onto this side, and you can see that the floor up top is marked. So you're like, oh, there's something going on there.
Hey, Draconic Dawn found the secret.
Further. Oh, very nice.
Yeah, that potion is a huge help, knowing that's there.
So Pika-Pals is left. Yeah, attacking the thing, knows what's up. But how do you get to it? One of these dungeons was marked... One of these passages was marked on both sides. One of them was marked on one side. Going to the opposite side, that's a reasonable assumption. But there it is. Deviously unmarked on both sides. No, I don't think there's nearly enough reason for these players to listen in on the stream on their playthrough.
So here we've got Pika-Pal's just got a new weapon.
Yeah, the baseball goes just barely not far enough, and then, oh god, the sound that comes out when you use these cleats or whatever these are.
Yep, they're the cleats.
I mean, they're incredible, right? It basically will clear a room out. Decent damage to everything in the room. Plus, it looks cool. You look like straight out of Dragon Ball Z doing your teleport behind the enemy, kick him in the back of the head sort of thing. But that sound, though, it's a really violent sound out of nowhere.
Yeah, Not Sid in the chat pointing out that, no, the baseball does, in fact, go far enough to hit the enemy. It's just those enemies are coded to be immune to the baseball. Which the manual describes not as a baseball, but as a wonder horsehide.
Is that like a kind of baseball? Ooh, those turrets were really hard to deal with.
Yeah, so the good news is Draconic Dawn is going to really benefit from this potion, because it's a no-brainer to pick that up every time you go through that room. So it's just 5 free hearts every time. Puffer King is just having a lot of unfortunate deaths from just bad movement inputs here. Dying on the instant sink tiles.
Well, Withheld is well poised to, oh my gosh, get out of this dungeon, but needs to get these reflects.
Oh
Misses
no!
several in a row.
Oh no!
Has 5 lives though, but yeah, that was the final room.
Oh, that's absolutely unfortunate. Yep, these cleats are great. There's only 2 pairs of them in the game.
Withheld goes down to the bowling ball as well. Down to 3 lives. Draconic Dawn. Getting the boss. Really good jumps from Withheld to avoid the arrows.
Yeah, some nice movement there.
This red bowling ball is so scary.
Yeah, I think this could be the time that Withheld does it. Just got to get past that red bowling ball.
It does make a big difference if you've got your shooting star with this bowling ball, because I'm pretty sure their projectile also stops it. So the range increase is, it's a big deal.
The range increase is a huge deal. All right.
It's figure-in time for Draconic Dawn. Took a moment, scanned the room, made a plan. It worked out. The baseball doesn't work on these Nautilus guys either. What the heck with this thing?
No, I did mean the shoes. Yeah, I meant the shoes and not the anklet. Although the anklet also shows up in the same chapters as the cleats.
I'm not sure I actually know which one the anklet is. Is that the jump power-up?
That's the power-up that lets you jump 2 tiles.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure what that was. I mean, it gave me kind of like Hermes shoes vibes, I guess. Oh, nice little jump over the turret shots from Pika Pals.
Yeah, Pika Pals is one of our more talented racers here, so not surprising to see him showing off some excellent movement here. Unfortunately, I think Pika Pals is going to realize that he did have to kill this last little Nautilus monster.
Draconic Dawn in the same room now. I mean, it's a pretty long room with a lot going on.
Although Dawn doesn't have a shooting star, so it's going to take twice as many hits to defeat these enemies. Nice dodges here.
Which is, it's like more than twice as bad though, because spending much longer fighting these enemies is more time for the turrets to shoot.
Yeah, the first time you fight these enemies, you're thinking, oh, what's this going to do? Is it going to start shooting fireballs at me? Is it going to just like try to ram me? Is it going to just explode? And no, it's just like, oh, you just have to hit it 5,000 times. And then later you're like, oh, I have to hit it 5,000 times.
Unfortunately, Pika Pals made the same mistake that I did, actually, when I played. The thing pops off the wall, got too close to it, and I don't know if contact damage just does a lot of damage, or if it's an instant kill, or what, but it's devastating, and it got Pika Pals, so that's actually a full game over all the way back to the start of the dungeon. Yeah, instant death confirmed. I had a suspicion. Dawn, unfortunately, having to work on these mummies without the shooting star.
Yeah, it just stacks up so much that you don't have the range, you don't have the damage. It just makes it take way more than way more than twice as long to defeat these enemies.
Yeah. So Withheld is exploring Chapter 6. Pufferfish King was the first one to reach the Chapter 5 dungeon. And it's going to be the last one to leave. I've seen most of the dungeon at this point.
Yeah, at this point, Pufferfish has really just had input errors. I think he knows all the solutions to the puzzles. He knows how to defeat the enemies. At this point, it's just he keeps having just minor execution errors that puts him in the water, and then he has to start over as a consequence. Oh, I like this movement from Draconic Dawn. He attacks one of the octopuses as he jumps by it. That's some clever movement there that can save you a little bit of time navigating the room.
Unfortunately, left an octopus alive somewhere else on the right side of the room. Here's the boss fight again for Pika Pals. Not often you see players fighting a boss they've already defeated, but that's going to be the reality of this game kind of going forwards.
Yeah, the game gets way more aggressive with boss fights from here on out. The real question is, what is this thing even shooting at you? It's shooting little rings at you.
I mean, Metroid has led me to call those Cheerios. Mother Brain sends them at you at the end of various Metroid games.
Yeah, the Metroid racing community, they've come up with a lot of food-based everything. They're a very hungry community.
Mother Brain will attack with meatballs, onion rings, and the ketchup beam, just to name a few. French fries are in there, yeah.
Pika Pals has been here before. He's done this already, so no mystery here. He's going to solve this in no time at all. And it's
pretty good on hearts.
And it's good that Pika Pals is picking up these baseballs, because he probably doesn't realize it yet, but those are one of the most important sub-weapons in the game. This is the only time in the game you're going to see them. And they are 100% mandatory because they are literally the only thing the boss of this level is weak to.
Ooh, an errant jump. Oh, never mind. I think this might have been intentional, actually. From
I'm pretty sure that was deliberate.
Puffer just lost the shooting star there.
Doing some pause buffers there to get past the purple people eaters.
I wonder, I have a controller, the start button on my SNES controller tends to give me an input when I press it down, and then again when I release it, and it comes back up. And it looks exactly like that. So I wonder if there's a similar problem going on. That would be... that's unlikely, probably, but... gives me no end of grief. Safely getting to the hearts now is Puffer. And is pausing maybe because this is unexplored territory and wants to kind of get a feel for what's going on.
Oh no, and falls for the sinking tile.
Alright, Pika Pals needs to play around and figure out what's going on with this boss. Already tried the cleats once while the boss's mouth was closed. Got no results, and there's at least damage, so let's see if Pika Pals is able to kind of intuit everything from that, and it looks like, yeah, I think so.
Well, there we go. Clear on the first attempt. 3 baseballs to go. So at 1 hour and 16 minutes, Pika Pals has cleared 2 of the 3 dungeons in this goal.
Oh, I got excited. I thought that was the end, because we did have a finish from Someone325, has been finishing in first place by a fair margin ahead of our other racers.
Yeah, I believe someone said that they're not blind to this. They played it ages ago, and the only thing they remember was the basic outline of the plot. But really, there's a lot of things in here that you remember, minor things. It's a huge deal. I mean, remembering remembering where that you need to have the piano notes from Peter Parrott that helps you get through that chapter really quick. Knowing about sinking tiles, so that it is a big deal to just have general knowledge of this game.
Yeah, well, they finished in 1:15:43. So congrats to them. Yeah, even stuff like when our players walked into that room and picked up a mysterious thing and turned orange, right? That's a real, like, what the heck just happened moment for everyone else. And probably someone was like, oh, yeah, right, the jump power up. All kinds of little ways where these things matter. And they add up to make a pretty big difference. Yeah, Pufferfish King, once again, back at the start of the dungeon. It's a tricky run through those spears. I don't know any sort of really good way to deal with the wooden stakes that come out of the ground. I'm not sure if there's a reliable pattern to them.
The biggest thing with
how reasonable is it to spot it?
Yeah, the biggest thing with the stakes is just recognizing that when one of them hits the end of the room, it's going to respawn somewhere, and being ready for it to respawn directly in front of you.
Okay.
So, Dungeon 2 in Chapter 6 starts off with a little bit of a puzzle here. Pika Pals has reached a dead end. There ain't nothing going on here, and this is the realization that, no, you got to turn around and go back. There's nothing here.
Pretty surprising little secret passage. I don't think it's going to actually yield anything concrete, but it is going to let you see, hey, there's dungeon over here.
Ooh, even trying to hit the walls just in case there might be a secret here.
It's good. It's this sort of thinking. It's this sort of curious, explorative approach to this game that I think has served Pika Pals well, and it's a big part of the reason why they're out in front right now. Is actually going to leave the dungeon entirely. Not a bad thought.
Yeah, actually, Pika found the entrance to the dungeon right away, so there's a lot of area he hasn't explored. So in his mind, maybe there's something else here that you can find. Like maybe there's another entrance to the dungeon. There's a suspicious staircase.
Draconic Dawn is pretty low on hearts, but is getting a whole bunch of hearts laid around. And unfortunately,
misjudges that by a tile.
Yeah, it's definitely reasonable to just kind of take a glance at it and say, this room is symmetric. I can jump down, therefore I can jump up, but not quite. It's one of those cases where there's like an even number of tiles, so if you want a one tile wide thing in the middle, it can't be equally distant to both sides of the room. One of them's got to be one more than the other.
Yeah, another thing too, we talked about this last time. It was actually something I didn't know, and somebody in the chat pointed out to us, is that the game has a scoring system based off of how many enemies you kill, where killing enemies loses you score. But more importantly is that apparently the game has some kind of an algorithm that your score goes down, but it does increase your drop rate. So that is a bit of an advantage to our players that they've been stuck in this dungeon for a while. That should be boosting their drop rate so that gives them a little bit of an edge, that the enemies should be dropping a little bit more health than usual.
A nice heart find here from Pika Pals. Gonna get the full heal, which is a pretty good reason to leave a dungeon and come back, actually. And then, of course, the max heart upgrade is going to be helpful and it's on its own. Is Pufferfish King going to be able to get it done on this attempt? It's just about to reach the halfway point. I'm wondering if leaving the dungeon resets your score.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's not like it's going to make a big difference. Pika Palace wasn't in there very long. Just one of those things I muse about while we keep an eye on all of our players. All of them are... Well, Withheld, I think, is kind of breaking new ground at this point.
Yeah, this is Withheld's first time going through this dungeon, so this is a lot of new content here that she is experiencing. All right, I was going to say Draconic Dawn has these cleats and hasn't really been taking advantage of them. The cleats are not a bad way to defeat these obnoxious Nautilus enemies, since you don't have to go anywhere near them.
Unfortunately, gets tagged twice by some turrets. They do a lot of damage. I'm not sure if it's like a 1.5 or 2 hearts, but you cannot afford to be taking hits from those things. So it's tough because they attack a lot. So if you're focusing all your efforts on dodging them, you kind of end up you don't progress. You don't get anywhere. You're just spending all of your time dodging. So you do have to kind of just go for it at some point, but needs to find a better balance between just going wherever they want to go and doing some kind of evasive maneuver.
Well done on Puffer King. He knows that you can hit the bowling ball to stop it. Good. I think this might be the run. Puffer's just got to avoid this bowling ball, and he should be able to get out of here alive. Ooh, that was.
It's easier said than done though. This bowling ball is strangely dangerous.
It's very relentless.
Final room gets the first reflect kill. The second guy is basically it.
I think there's one more.
There's a third guy.
There we go. That's nice.
These snakes are going to be a problem. And it might take Pufferfish a little bit to figure out what's going on in this room, but is home free, is going to be beating this dungeon and this chapter.
There we go. Finds the secret passage almost instantly. He's not thrown off in the least by the scrolling room. Pika Pals finds the hidden entrance here. So we had trouble with these wooden stakes in the previous chapter. Well, they're back, and now they're these blades, exactly the same, except for they just hit all the harder, because that's exactly what you need. Is just more damage. Now this is one that's in the paste bin, so hopefully Pika Pals read the paste bin.
Yeah, when I played, it wasn't in there yet, and I did not pick up on this mechanic at all. I mean, I knew something was kind of going on with the way these rooms were laid out, that there must have been something I was missing. But this projectile you pick up in here, you can press the button again while it's mid-flight, and the 2 shurikens will split off at opposite sort of 90-degree angles, which is really cool and really fun. And they do a decent amount of damage, and it opens up some interesting possibilities, because you can throw both of them point blank for extra damage, or you can use the fact that they cover various angles to attack enemies from a safe distance. You can hit things on diagonals now, so I'll be interested to see how the players use these things.
Yeah, this is going to be incredibly challenging for Pika Pals if he doesn't pick up on using the asterisks. See, the thing is, Pika Pals isn't even throwing one. Like, I think that's the biggest issue right now, is that he got it. He hasn't even thrown a single one yet.
Was trying to do something really fancy with this snakes, didn't quite get it. Meanwhile, Draconic Dawn, full health, just I think 1 room away from the boss, if I remember right.
Yeah, this is right after the boss. Or Is this after or before? I'm losing track. Yeah, this is right before the boss. But yeah, this room is designed to be incredibly... there we go. Oh, but didn't split it.
Might be a paste bin situation. If any of these players on stream, I would peg to be someone who definitely would read the paste bin. It would probably be Pika-Pals. There's a lot of Mystery Tournament experience, knows the importance of the paste bin.
Yeah, so this is a nasty room Don's in with these mummies. They're on tiles, which means you suddenly you can't outrun them anymore.
RTFP, that's right. Yeah, so the design of that room, it's clearly designed for you to make use of the asterisks to clear out the snakes. But I did not intuit that was how that item worked, and that's how I should use it, just from, you know, the way that this power-up looks and the design of this room. Because I could do it the way that Pika-Pals is doing it. With a clever step and a jump, you can totally clear these out safely. So you just kind of think, oh, it's just a tough room, I guess. Without pausing the game, unfortunately, like I think on top of a projectile or something. Wasn't able to get away from that one. Back down to 3 hearts. And Draconic Dawn has died again. Down to the last life.
Yeah, this is a really strange thing because, as Myth said, before we did this race, Myth did a blind playthrough of it, and so I wrote the paste bin that I was going to use for this game, and I gave it to Myth so he could read through it, and I covered most of the stuff. Like, you know, the letter dipping in water was obviously going to be a big one that nobody is going to figure that out without being told. The musical notes I had in there just in case, but this was one that I didn't even think about. That's like, oh, this is pretty important. And I think we were playing it, and everybody in the chat room, as soon as Myth picked it up, it's like, oh yeah, this definitely should be in the paste bin. Like, immediately when you saw it, it's like, oh yeah, this is not obvious at all.
It's one of those things too where like different people have different feelings about backseat gaming and spoilers and stuff. I'm pretty welcoming of a lot of things, and this was one definitely where I was like, yeah, this is better. This is not having to do these ridiculous jumps on these snakes and everything. And also like, oh, now that I know about this mechanic, it's fun to use it, right? Like I'm having more fun playing the game this way now with this new information. So yeah, it was very much welcome information for me, and it would be for Pika-Pals, I'm sure, if they read it. Now, what are the odds Pika-Pal's gonna like open up the paste bin again, right? At this point, this late in, that seems pretty slim.
Yeah, so something too that I wonder what it is. So this is, I usually do it as a paste bin. I did it as a rentry this time, and I got a little more multimedia than usual. And for this particular hint, actually, all I did was I copied the part of the manual. Like, I copied the picture and the text. So it's possible that you sort of glossed over it as an image instead of, if it was text, you probably would have read every line of text.
Yeah, well, putting the images of cheeseburgers in the previous paste bin might have soured people on what images mean in your paste bin, I guess.
I mean, they were good pictures of cheeseburgers.
It was great. It was a fantastic bit. I loved it. But it's not going to help Pika-Pals beat this dungeon. I should get into the habit when I play more retro games to to check out the manual. I did that for Crystallis, and it was huge. It was absolutely massive.
I don't like Don not drinking this potion. But he manages to get to the boss, and I think this might be Withheld's first time on this boss. But yeah, Withheld knows exactly what to do here. Immediately picks up that this is just Octo the Huge again.
I think we stalled in the room just before the second boss, actually. I think that was where she had the game paused on top of a projectile.
Come on, Internet. I apologize, folks. It looks like my internet's struggling a little bit right at the moment.
Well, to give you the radio version, Pufferfish King is the only player, I think, kind of breaking new ground right now. Draconic Dawn is back in this room that he has died in probably like 10, 11 times or something at this point. Just having a lot of trouble avoiding damage from the turrets while moving around the room. Without having to replay the whole earlier portion of the dungeon. And Pika-Pal straight up stuck. I mean, it's technically not impossible to make progress right now. You can get that spike ball moving, and you can cleverly move and jump around it, and then the snakes, and you'll probably take some damage, but you can get through. But really, what Pika-Pals needs to do is figure out how this sub-weapon they have works.
Folks, I'm going to drop this real quick, and I'm going to be back in a minute and a half. So thank you for having some patience here. All right, I think we've got it set up again. I apologize for that hiccup. Hopefully we should be up. Looks like the stream is popping back up. And I think we should be live again. Hopefully folks in the chat can see this. I apologize. I don't know what it has been for the last few weeks, but for whatever reason, I've been dropping lots of frames when streaming. I need to look into this.
Withheld got to the boss, knows how to damage it, was throwing the baseballs into that open mouth, but unfortunately just got caught by him, so is sent a ways back, but has that knowledge. Pika-Pal's dealing with some new enemies, a really tricky room. These little cloud-like things that move around are quite erratic. They're capable of moving on diagonals and on sort of the cardinal directions, so very unpredictable, difficult to deal with. Did Pika-Pals figure out how the weapon works? That's a good question. Has fired it twice at least. I missed it, if so. I'm seeing Draconic Dawn make the same mistake that I made in a lot of cases, where you see a turret shot coming, and you're running, and you see it coming, and you're like, okay, it's gonna hit me. I need to do something. I'm gonna jump, and your brain kind of expects you to jump forwards because you're moving forwards, and you hit the jump button, and that's not how it works. When you're on the ground, you just jump straight up into the air, and that's pretty bad in a lot of cases. So sometimes you come right back down on top of a projectile. It's a great tool for dodging stuff, for sure, but if you're expecting it to carry you forwards and it doesn't, it's probably going to drop you in a bad place. Oh, you're right, Buffer doesn't have the baseball. Or threw them all away or something.
No, he skipped the chest. He ran through that room. He's like, yeah, I don't need this stuff. It's like, this
but
weapon
that's really
sucks.
good progress, though. To get all the way to this room, like that, and is doing well in this room. Draconic Dawn's been dying on this room over and over for like 30 minutes or something. but not anymore. Draconic Dawn gets the kill on the boss. Going to be moving on to the next dungeon.
Smooth move here by Puffer.
Yeah. We saw who was it? I think it was Draconic Dawn also using the cleats on the mummies is a great strategy. Pika-Pals kind of can't believe that he's being asked to do this room. Like, it just seems like it shouldn't be this hard. I think it's kind of identified there's a really good chance they're just missing something important. And was trying to go up one tile and then right and jump, but ends up in the drink. So I think it's safe to say has not figured out how the sub-weapon works yet.
Yeah, and there's really nothing they can do about it except for read the pace spin.
Yeah, it's tough to, I don't know, once I get in the flow of a thing, it's really tough for me to pull myself out of it. That goes for, like, if a game enables you to, like, open a menu and save or something, I will be a little more unlikely to do that once I'm on a roll. So once I'm, almost 2 hours into a game, I would need a pretty good reason to think, oh, I should go back to the pace bin here. And to be fair, I think Pika-Pals is getting there. The way that I've seen them move is just kind of telling me that they're having these sorts of thoughts. That something might be wrong, that they're missing something. Obviously, plenty of room for me to be reading into something there, but I want to say that's where they're at. Here's Pufferfish King looking at this treasure chest and thinking, maybe I should see what's in there.
Oh, maybe... Alright, maybe it was because he didn't think about, oh, I can jump down from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Pika-Pals, I think he really is going to need to figure out these asterisks. This dungeon is going to be way too difficult if you're not figuring that out.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's extremely difficult even once you do know. So I don't even really want to think about having to play it without it. Withheld with another emergency pause. I'm not sure what the reason is. Like what the plan is. It's not like there's a potion or something to use. Alright, so Puffer's got the baseballs this time, and health is not really all that important against the boss. Like, I feel like he doesn't really hurt you unless you're touching it, and then he'll just kill you anyway. Oh, but left a Nautilus alive on the other side of the room. Those hearts would be nice, though. Survive one more turret shot. Or a Nautilus bump, I guess. The turrets will kill now, though. Cannot get hit. Oh, cutting it so close.
Draconic Dawn.
Oh, no.
Draconic Dawn finds the heart container. Yeah, this is really just rough for Pika-Pals. I'm surprised he hasn't said anything in the chat, too. This is the sort of thing that after a while, you'd think that you'd see something in the chat like, again? Really?
Yeah. The second time that room shows up with the spike ball and the snakes.
And it's clever because all they've done is move the spike ball one tile, and it makes it just even more obnoxious.
Yeah, the weapon sprite might clue you in that there's two of them. Maybe that means something, but it's, I don't know. It's small enough and not quite detailed enough that I would forgive someone for not even realizing that there were two of them.
The other possibility for figuring it out is if he gets to a boss and he just starts throwing a bunch of them, and then he hits the button twice in a row. That would also be a thing that might do it for him.
I'm just now remembering that the low health beep is just like really sporadic for no reason.
Yeah, it repeats every time another sound effect plays. So if you're attacking a lot, it just starts playing randomly at intervals.
A lack of curiosity. Pika Pals has been pretty good about being curious about. I was praising his exploration of things earlier in the race. And we've seen the slingshot, the baseball. Like, how many things are just a thing you throw forwards?
Yeah, that's actually the theme of the lore in today's pace spin. Oh no, withheld!
Bolos, right. Yeah. Yeah, withheld has been pretty close to the end of this dungeon for a while, kind of like Draconic Dawn.
Yeah, withheld made it to the end, defeated the boss, but died. It was a double KO. Died at the same moment as defeating the boss. And unfortunately, that doesn't count. You've got to do it all over from the beginning.
Tie does not go to the runner, as I like to say. Pika Pals in a mini boss fight. I thought it was helpful to use your sub weapon to sort of attack this boss safely from the diagonals. Obviously not something Pika Pals is going to be able to do here. But what I didn't realize is that if you've got the shooting star, it doesn't have that much health. You could kind of just get in its face and mess it up pretty good.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where Pika Pals has found a way that he can cautiously and safely fight the boss. So why not do that? Why invent new strategies in the middle of the fight when you've got something that works? Ooh, gets a negative.
So hits a checkpoint here, but unfortunately it's not going to matter, having gone down to 1 life.
Alright, Pika Pals has found a solution to this room.
Yeah, it's not a great one. I'm pretty sure it's going to involve getting hit at least once. It happened to be twice in this case.
Just for whatever reason, Pika Pals doesn't know about the asterisks. Looks like Draconic Dawn.
I don't know how long I would have gone. Someone in my chat clued me into this pretty quick. I did like 2 or 3 rooms without it, where the game really wants you to do it. But I honestly have no idea how long I would have gone before I was like, what am I missing? I could see myself totally being in this situation that Pika Pals is in right now.
And this dungeon gives you a lot of these asterisks. This is the only dungeon that has them, and the game really goes out of its way to give you a lot of them because it wants you to use them.
We've got a late into the dungeon attempt from Pufferfish King. Was the last to leave Chapter 5. But could jump up a place here on stream. They could sort of clutch this out. Oh, look at this, getting all 3 of the Nautilus on screen and then using the cleats.
Some good play there.
And then dodging the turret shots as well. Alright.
And then immediately using these cleats, because I think Puffer's seen everything up to the boss, so once you know everything that's going, like, you start mapping out. I'm just going to use these resources here, I'm going to use these resources here.
Oh, please don't die to a snake. The boss is so close. Pika Pal's having to work so hard to progress through this room. There's just so much going on. And here we go. Here's the boss attempt now for Pufferfish King. Has the baseballs equipped. Yeah, knows the deal. Oh, but does not jump over the whatever that projectile is.
Yeah, they're sort of snakes, I guess. Kind of.
Yeah, I think I forgot how hard it was to jump over those attacks reliably. They seem to have a pretty long hitbox.
Yeah, so at this point, I think we're going to see Don catch up to Pika Pals really quickly. Knowing that you can use these asterisks is just absolutely game-changing.
Unfortunately, took a hit, is down to 5 health, and I think there were more hearts available there. Maybe not. There's definitely hearts available here, so I was going to get back up to the shooting star.
Yeah, the game starts getting really generous with health from this point on because you take so much damage. Although it's kind of an unusual setup because I think you might have mentioned it during commentary in one of the previous races that this is unusual because you can't miss heart containers. There's no like going to do some side quests to increase your health. The amount of health you have going into a dungeon, it's always going to be within 1 or 2 hearts. So it's sort of an unusual design decision here, because why even increase your life meter? Because they're just going to scale up the enemies anyways. It's kind of an unusual design decision to incorporate heart containers in here and then just scale up the enemies anyway to match. Oh, hey, Pika Pals has found it!
Oh yeah, I blanked. I was like, I thought I was watching Draconic Dawn fighting this boss. No, you're right. That's really big news. Unfortunately, still getting hit by this boss and hits for a lot of damage. All right, Sign. What do you got? +1. Yeah, I was very surprised when I finished this chapter and saw how many hearts they gave me for the next chapter. I think there might be like a good deal of hearts available here. And I found almost none of them. I think I found the one that some of our players found.
Yeah, suddenly these rooms just melt before Pika Pals.
Only has 4 hearts though, so no shooting star. Which is going to be a big advantage for Draconic Dawn, sitting at full health currently. Pika holding on with those 2 hearts. Held getting to the late parts of the earlier dungeon now. Actually, Pufferfish King right behind, so they're in, again, this really big, obnoxious turret room. Oh, come on. Pufferfish King got completely cornered. Maybe one really well-timed jump could have got out of there, but the projectiles just aligned in a really unfortunate way.
Pikapel's taking the time to hit every one of the tiles in this room just to be safe.
I think we're seeing new stuff now from Pikapels.
Yep, this is new progression. Or as we like to say in the mystery community, this is tangible progress.
These guys got a lot of health. Even with the shooting star, you got to beat on them for a while before they go down. And these little projectile things moving around are, I think, straight out of Zelda, right? I think they curse you and don't let you use your yo-yo for a little bit. And I don't think they actually damage you, which is nice. But of course, you know, not being able to defend yourself.
Yeah, these enemies are surprisingly lenient because, yeah, they don't deal any damage to you. They just stun you for a moment, and they give you iframes. So you get hit by them and you think, oh, this is awful. No, they give you a chance that no matter how badly cornered you are by the rest of the enemies, you can just go with it.
Yeah, I didn't consider the benefit of the iframes. I definitely considered the negative of the stun. That I found frustrating in a couple spots. But you're right, those iframes last a long time. That's a pretty important thing. And now, if I remember right, yeah, there is a secret passage. And then, will Pikapels think to jump down from here? Okay. Draconic Dawn making steady progress. Health count looks good. And now a tricky boss room. 2 of these enemies now at the same time. For Pikapels. And I think Withheld finally cleared that dungeon. Sorry if I missed that.
Yep, Withheld defeated the boss for the second time.
Right.
Pikapels has a potion. Does he have the presence of mind to use it?
I definitely committed the sin of dying with a potion in my inventory more than once.
It's not like The Legend of Zelda where it's a mechanic where you're constantly buying potions and it's always available to you. So I think it's kind of difficult to think about it. Pikapels gets a nice double there, hits both of them at once.
Yeah, that's nice. You are losing out on half of your damage when you fight the boss this way. I'm pretty sure the way the damage works is they both contribute some amount of damage, so it does take longer, but if you've got the ammunition, and then surprise, it's not over.
And then another almost trap there that if you were to try to jump forward, you'd fall into that tile with the skull.
Just a little bit mistimed on some of these uses. Find some extra hearts, though. That's nice.
Yeah, you need to aim way higher. There it is.
Oh, really? Not Sid? Like, even if you throw both into a thing,
Pika,
it's not doing
use your...
twice as much damage.
You gotta use your potion.
Oh, the potion! Oh. It's also not attacking from the center of the room as well. So only one of these things is getting hit. Okay, gets a kill on one.
Almost got it.
Has 15 more of these. That's enough for a kill, I'm pretty sure.
Well, plus there's more sitting in the middle of the room if he gets desperate.
Yeah, but it's a little bit spooky to go after it.
That's it.
Okay.
Just don't make any mistakes. And that's it. Pika Pals has made it past the second dungeon. Of course, Pika Pals doesn't know if he's done yet. The paceman just says to complete the chapter. So he might still be thinking, oh, how much more is left? Is there another dungeon? Because it's only been 2 hours. He's a little bit ahead of the estimate for the goal.
Yeah, I wonder where his head is at. I do know Draconic Dawn is dispatched of this tricky boss, but is very low on health. That was really clutch. Getting that first try like that, low health, dodging all those shots, that was extremely well done by Pika Pals. It makes a huge difference in a blind race if you can pull stuff off like that. And now it's Draconic Dawn's turn to see this exact same situation. I think maybe can take one hit. Oh, I lied. I think I was wrong about that.
Yep. And there were some hearts on the left side of the room. He could have picked up those hearts.
Oh, and Puffer does clear the dungeon. Catching up to Withheld, who has read the paceman and is splitting the asterisks up.
And there we go. Pika Pals clearing Chapter 6 and moving on to Chapter 7, Alien Spaceship. So we're not going to play that in today's goal, but that should be an exciting sort of hint of what is yet to come in the Startropics race. Let's go ahead and pull up Muware. I think Muware is the last member of our race who is still in it. Looks like Muware is on the second half of the first dungeon of Chapter 6.
Yeah, this room was a big problem for everyone. And looks like it's been the same for Muware. But that was the last enemy in the room, and is looking really good on health. Ooh, there's a secret room in the dark between the two boss fights.
Oh, really? I didn't know about that.
That'll be a tough thing for our players to find, I think. But after Draconic Dawn found the invisible platform potion, I can't put anything past him.
Oh, I can't really find a good way. I wanted to get Muware's little controller cat in there, but I can't really fit that.
Oh, I wonder if Muware has fought this boss before, because they very confidently went about fighting it correctly this time. Still full health. Just don't touch it. And that's a clear.
Yeah, this game has a lot of hidden items everywhere. That it's unusual because I feel like that's sort of it's sort of not a thing in a lot of modern games. In a lot of modern games, they sort of give you everything pretty directly. The idea of there being a secret room where it has a potion that you really need to progress, as opposed to making you do a sort of an obvious side quest. That's sort of retro game sort of thinking.
Mm-hmm. The secret bonus rooms will have some sort of collectible, something that makes you feel good for having found it, but is not necessary to the sort of core experience of the game.
Yeah. It's also sort of backwards for game design in a certain way, I'd say, in that finding the secrets should be the advanced. Like you play Donkey Kong Country and, okay, you find the secret areas and then they give you a new additional challenge as opposed to making the existing challenge easier.
Right.
Picapel's comments in the chat, someday I'll learn how to read a paste spin.
Old school first-person shooters used to be full of secret rooms. Oh, believe me, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Just before commentating this, I was commentating the Speed Seasons 3 Race of Doom on the Games Done Quick channel, which is absolutely rotten with secrets. There was one map where I played through trying to find all the secrets, and there was a map where I was like, okay, I'm done looking for them. I'm gonna look them up. How many am I missing? And I had found 4 out of 12 secret rooms on that map.
And how many of the secrets were? How many of them were like use the no clip and go through the room and it's John Romero's face backwards?
Nothing quite as cool as that, I'm afraid. I did find one secret door that was like, it was a secret door within a secret hallway. And you open it up and there's 4 armor inside. And I realize that means nothing if you've never played Doom. You regularly find a regular power-up that gives you 100 armor. So finding 4 armor was yeah, that was something.
To put it in the context of our Startropics racers, it's like you found a star. You don't care.
Yes, exactly. Just 1 star. So some pretty good progress from Draconic Dawn has made it back to this double. What are these guys called? There's like a name for these guys, right?
Withheld finding the secret room. Somebody had pointed this out before, saying there's a place you can fall. Withheld found it, and it's 2 treasure boxes here. I did not know about this. This is new content for me.
Asterisk.
It's a potion.
It even looks like the walls are darker, right? Like it.
Yeah, this is huge. I did not know this exists. I'm learning here. This is exactly why I love doing these races. This is a game that I have played so much, I would consider myself to know everything about it, and here I'm learning new things from it, thanks to these players.
You'd love to see it. Ooh, could use a potion right about now. Yeah, there we go. You want Draconic Dawn with full health and 31 going up to 41 of these shooting stars. Point blank actually is a way to deal damage even faster to the boss. You could probably even DPS race from this point if your timing is good. Which, to be fair, it's not quite. A lot of these shots are missing. Ooh, okay, retreats a little bit. It's going to start going back and forth, but doesn't need to.
Nicely done. Down drinking that potion, just in case there's yet another boss. So at the 2-hour mark here, we've got all of our players are in the third dungeon of this goal, so everybody is doing very well on this right now. Once again, this is a challenging game, so everybody getting even this far, this is a really strong sign of just how skilled these players are. It's like Puffer also read the pace bin, is not in the least bit daunted by these by these shuriken.
The timings on them is a little bit tricky, I guess, because they kind of come down in the tile in front of you, not the tile you're on. So you gotta account for that in your timing.
That one guy asking,
what do stars do? Good question.
Yep, I'll let you handle this one, Myth.
Stars, when you collect 5 of them, refill a single heart. They're basically a fifth of a heart. And eventually, at this point in the game, everything's dealing like 2 damage, so they're mostly inconsequential. I mean, eventually you die so often that the drop rate gets high enough that maybe it starts to make a little bit of a difference, maybe.
So, Draconic Dawn finishing in 3rd place with an SRL time of 2 hours, 10 minutes, 46 seconds. A very good time. And here we are at the start of Chapter 7. It's going to go ahead and maybe take a save state there just to be absolutely certain, because I know Don is actually playing off of a borrowed save file. Don did complete our first goal and then realized that he had made a minor tactical error in marking his save folder as read-only, and as a consequence lost the save file. But thankfully, having half a dozen people in this race meant that there was somebody to back him up, and so he got back in business.
Yeah, if I remember right, Draconic Dawn's basically carrying this torch from Cyro Hydra's game, and I'm pretty sure something similar happened to Withheld, so she's playing off of Muware's save file, so I hope at some point on the final day everyone's just playing the same save file, just all converges.
Yeah, well, so we had somebody in the chat ask, when are we doing a blind race of Startropics 2? Probably we won't be doing Startropics 2. Part of that is because I'm actually not particularly fond of Startropics 2. It's not bad, but it's a little bit rough, and it really doesn't do anything better than the first one, so I feel like it's just more of the same. But also part of that is because we do have a lot of other fun games that we'd like to play, and so we're going to try to do some different things. We actually had some players before today's race started. I mean, we weren't even halfway through this game, and we already had some players saying, hey, what are we going to play next? What's going to be our next choice? The easy answer to that, first off, is that the next game we're going to play, we are going to play Myst for the computer. One of the very first CD-based games. That is not going to be a race, however. That's going to be a cooperative event. We'll probably do that the week after we finish up Startropics. And that'll be open for anybody who is blind to Myst. That will absolutely be restricted to people who are blind, because it really does defeat the whole point of... it does defeat the point of playing Myst if you already know the answers to the puzzles. Exuno lying in the chat and saying the story in Startropics 2 is so good. That is an absolute bald-faced lie. But we also have some other games...
Before you get too far away from it, I just want to say I am super excited for the Myst race, and what a great idea I think that is. Because I think that's a super hard game to try to tackle all on your own. But I've been involved in some puzzle hunts and stuff that we do on the Mystery Discord as well. And so I've seen how when you get, multiple heads together, really hard stuff can get cracked in a pretty reasonable amount of time. So there's a lot that's fantastic about it. It's a great idea.
Here we see Puffer doing just what you had strategized before, just get in this mud doll or clay doll's face and just hammer him down with your shooting star. It deals a lot of damage. Puffer picks up that sign that's -1, and then it's like he says, "Why? Why would that happen?" It just stands in disbelief as he tries to understand what just happened. No, I was saying there's some other ideas for games to play. I was throwing some of them out in the Discord. Some of them we were looking at. Some people had talked about Goemon for the N64, kind of a Zelda-style N64 game. That's one that we were talking about. Another one was some players talking about the Ys series, the long-running Falcom series of action RPGs. Playing one of those games, maybe Ys 1. I suggested Ys 4. Absolutely has to be one that has bump combat in it. Mystical Ninja for the Super NES was one I was thinking of. Lately, I've been kind of jonesing for Breath of Fire 3 on the PlayStation, although that would be very different as a strict RPG. And then I'm sure the players will have some suggestions too. So we'll probably, as we get to the end of the of Startropics, we'll start seriously inquiring about who's available for racing, what games people want to play, what they're blind to, and we'll pick something out.
Only 3 hearts left for Muware. Dancing around these knives is going to be able to get away, but those 3 hearts. It's never a good position to be in. Having to take this guy down with your regular yo-yos, not fun. So going to be switching to the asterisks a little bit. Three hearts also for Pufferfish. Can get up to 5, but now 4, having taken that hit. Which is, maybe this will surprise you, less than 6. Which is an important breakpoint in Startropics.
Draconic Dawn asking, Breath of Fire 3 is one with gene splicing. Yes, that's correct. It's got, you collect the dragon genes and you build your custom dragons because that's just awesome.
I do like that series, I guess, and 3 is probably my favorite in the series. Some fantastic sprite work in the Breath of Fire series, especially 3 and 4, where they got to like PlayStation quality, but we're like, no, we're still doing sprites. They're just going to be the best sprites, and it's a style that you don't see a lot, because a lot of games when they went to PlayStation were like, it's 3D is the future, and they turned out these 3D games that obviously look terrible today. Whereas the ones who stuck with sprites tend to look phenomenal. Sadly, I don't think the quality of the sprites is the major deciding factor for whether or not a thing would be a good blind race.
Ooh, Breath of Fire 5 for this format? Breath of Fire 5 is a really rough game for this because it's designed under the intention of getting an unwinnable situation.
That's the one where they deviated from standard formula.
I
don't know if I want to play this one, and I never really gave it an honest shot.
It's a good one. I like it, but it's very different. Oh, come on.
Ooh, Pufferfish is going to just smash down the boss point blank and gets the kill. Nicely done. And it's the correct decision. I don't think trying to run away and dodge the boss would have been good. Picks up the -1, does a few frustration spins. Pick that chin up and move on.
All right, guys. I'm going to reset this one more time. I apologize for my internet today. It's usually not that bad. We'll be back in 1 minute.
Chat can let us know when they hear us. And I can tell you, Withheld fell in a valiant attempt against the boss of the two clay dolls. looking things. I think there's got to be they're from some sort of folklore or something, but I can't place them.
They're probably like fertility idols or something like that.
Yeah. I can't stop thinking about Breath of Fire now.
It's been on my mind for the last couple of weeks for whatever reason, and it's been thinking, man, this is such a good game where people need to play this. Which is part of...
We played through Breath of Fire 4. Was a co-op game between me and Jorf.
Right.
And I was shocked at how dark that game got.
Oh, yeah.
Other games they get a little bit dark, but that game really went for it. Like a real gut punch.
Yeah, like Breath of Fire 3 it has a couple of parts where it's a little bit moody, but it's never really dark. But yeah, Breath of Fire 4 was just super, the villain is just hates existence and wants to make everybody miserable. Ooh, this is a great fight here by Puffer King. Puffer, you got a potion. Use your potion.
What? It's going into the menu, but it's for the sub weapon, not the potion.
There it is. Okay. Phew.
It's like you said, it's just so rare that you have a potion that you just don't get used to. Oh yeah, this is what I should do in this situation. I should use my potion.
And yeah, you have a thing on the sub, like in the main screen, it shows you number of potions. You have a dedicated sub menu to show that to you.
Oh, this is unfortunately got lined up with the boss in a bad way. It's down to 1 heart, but this boss is almost dead. Sure enough, 1 hit left. So that's that boss dead. Where as well gets a kill. Here's the dark room with, I suppose, some kind of secret that would have helped, but I think that's pretty tricky to find. There are hearts in this room, but only for the adventurous player who jumps left.
Yeah, Puffer was in a really bad spot there, trying to hit the enemy from the back of the room. And I think, did we see Draconic Dawn figure out that you could hit both at the same time if you're in the middle?
Yeah, Dawn jumped right up to the top of the screen and was able to kind of rapid fire hit both of them. Like basically exactly what the speedrun does.
I'd say that you'd be less likely to find the secret of the dark room by accident and more likely to find it because you're deliberately searching absolutely everywhere. I'm really tempted as soon as this is done that I'm going to fire up my my NES and I'm actually going to look for that. Like I'm going to have to replay Chapter 6, but I really want to see that secret now.
I remember thinking, this boss music is still going. I'm pretty sure that's the case. And it goes dark, and I remember thinking, if I don't run through this room, it's gonna kill me. I don't know how or why, but I'm pretty sure I need to run straight through here or I will die, was what I was thinking when I went through there. It definitely wasn't, ooh, I wonder if there's a secret. Not in a great spot is Puffer or Withheld. No shooting star.
Alright, Muware has killed all the enemies and nothing's happening here, and suddenly it's, hey, what's going on? Do I have to kill the fuzzy things too?
Yep, a reasonable thought, but pretty quickly that question will be answered. with a no, and some other answer needs to be found. Now, previously when the players encountered a dead end, the solution was like, you're in the total wrong place. You got to go all the way back to the start and go somewhere else. Somehow, Draconic Dawn goes down to the previous room and then immediately left into the secret passage. Sorry, I said Draconic. This is Muware. Left into the secret passage, which is great knowledge, knowing that there's something over there. But needs to repeat the process one room over.
Yeah, and Withheld is going to have another advantage here of this knowing about this secret room with the potion and the extra asterisks. That I think there's quite a few potions in this area actually that you can pick up. So you can get pretty healthy in this dungeon before going in. Especially because Withheld has apparently missed all of the heart containers in this chapter. Withheld has only 11 hearts.
Yeah, I think we saw up to 13 on some of our players, right?
Yeah, I think you get up to 13 if you collect all the hearts normally.
Oh, we're starting to explore the walls. Okay, there it is. I think sadly I found the wall transition pretty quick, but then was really hesitant to jump down afterwards. Pretty sure I had to double back to find it. It hasn't been a problem for our players on stream. Alright, boss fight the first. In a pretty decent amount of health. Has the shooting star, 67 asterisks. Is pretty sweet. And it looks like most of the players have decided to use these the way that I ended up using them, which is to attack safely from a diagonal.
Yeah, when you've got this many, you might as well. Use them or lose them. Oh, and yeah, physically touching an enemy is, the boss enemies is always terrible. It's always going to turn out badly for you.
$11 hearts. Not actually instant kill this time, but might as well have been. In fact, it is still instant kill for Withheld. Muware is cursed currently, waiting for that to wear off, immediately gets recursed. So patience is required in this room, especially if you don't have the shooting star, don't have the asterisks.
Patience actually isn't required at all because the exit is just walking through the wall. Muware takes his toys and he goes home.
Finds a potion, drinks it immediately. Back up to shooting star. Only gonna have 20 asterisks. Now we know that Muware should probably save these for the boss.
There are more asterisks in the boss room. If he's cautious about it, he can beat the boss efficiently using just the asterisks in its room.
Oh, there's that contact damage again. So mean. I'm pretty sure I saw someone pick up the asterisks in the boss room, and it didn't give 20, it just gave 10? Maybe I'm crazy.
It might be. There's a lot of places in this that have unusual quantities. I think there's a potion room in like the ghost tunnel that you pick up the potion, and for whatever reason it gives you 2 potions.
Whoa. Double potion. I like the sound of that. Okay, it is just 10. I did see that right. So that means you would need perfect aim with all 10 shots in the center of the room, right? To pull it off with just those. That's probably a pretty big ask for our players. So definitely if Muware goes down to 0 on these, I don't know, could be tough. Obviously the shooting star would be great as well. Apparently even the regular yo-yo can be used if you jump into the statue's chests. You can attack from there. But it would be a really tough finish. Oh, there goes 3, 2, 1. Okay.
All right. Well, Moose still has the shooting star, though.
Yeah, this is huge. Oh, and gets the kill. Withheld is in the room where you need to find the secret passage. I'm not sure if she's done that yet. She is fighting all of these enemies. Take from that what you will.
Oh, Not Sid says it's in Chapter 8. Wait, there's a potion in Chapter 8? Where is there a potion in Chapter 8?
Yeah, I don't think I found one. Here's this boss fight. I think we just missed one shot, so is gonna need to improvise some damage and just lost the shooting star. With even one more sub-weapon, this would have been easy. But now with 3 hearts left, is gonna have to work really hard to find more damage on these statues.
Yep, no choice here but to run up and hit him in the chest.
Oh, and the fire moving back and forth, ugh. And it's actually a game over, too.
Yeah, Mooer had a potion and didn't drink it. Yeah, everybody's really close here. Puffer's on the dual dolls. Withheld's on the dual dolls, although Withheld has plenty of asterisks here. Withheld can just go nuts with these asterisks.
Yeah, this is how you can tell who has died in the dungeon, who hasn't. You can build up a huge supply of these things if you're going through the whole dungeon.
It's the Gradius problem. Oh, is there a checkpoint right before the boss? Puffer's already fighting the boss again.
It was Muir who was fighting it, no?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Duh, I'm not even paying attention.
I was second-guessing myself, even. Alright, so not enough asterisks in hand to defeat the boss. And again, this is the same projectile that got...
Wait, did Withheld find the secret? Is this the legendary secret in the dark room?
It might be. What else could it be? It happened. Every wild secret that it was like, yeah, they probably won't, but maybe basically all of them were found. And to be fair, most of them were withheld as well.
Now I'm gonna say that Withheld of all players is probably studiously avoiding being spoiled.
Yeah, none of these players want to do that. I can guarantee you. Never underestimate the cleverness and resourcefulness of a veteran mystery player like Withheld. You know how, like, you get a bunch of people all playing a game and one person finds the stuff and then they share it, they put it on a message board, or they tell the kids at school, right? You know, back when video games were a little mysterious, back in the days when, say, Startropics came out, it was people like Withheld who were the ones finding the stuff. And that is a boss kill. Well executed. Withheld on the way. Muware found themselves in a situation that you never want to be in against these clay dolls. Which is, you get lined up with them in a cardinal direction, and they start attacking you, and you're too close, and you didn't react in time or whatever, so you can't walk away. You can't move up or down out of their attack. So you're forced to jump, and once you come back down, there's nothing preventing them from just attacking again. And then in between those attacks, it's going to be walking towards you, and it's getting closer. And so at some point, you have to do something other than jump. And whenever you do that, you're vulnerable to a hit. And so you're completely at the boss's mercy at that point, whether or not you get away safely. It's never a position you want to be in. And it's so easy to find yourself in one, because if you make even a small mistake, it's pretty easy for the boss to just get squared up with you. And then all it needs to do is attack once, and you can suddenly find yourself in a pretty bad situation from what seemed to be pretty safe. The Mew truck, yeah. Yeah, that was absolutely why that started. Why is there a truck back there? Why does that room exist, and then why did someone go to the trouble to put a truck there? It's gotta be for something.
All right, we've got our clear by withheld.
Yeah, there it is. In the books, 2:38:07 is the recorded SRL time. Which, by the way, just to keep things in perspective, is still well within the estimate we gave the players. We estimated 1.5 to 3 hours to complete this goal, just because we had some quick finishes up front. Don't mistake that all these other players are still doing really well.
Yeah, I think everybody's really close here. I think at this point, everybody has seen the boss. The final boss of the goal.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. And has an idea of how to fight it. You know, knows the importance of the asterisk sub-weapon.
Yeah, I think Muware here is sort of in a backwards scenario where Muware's sitting on 77 asterisks. Use them. Use every single one of those suckers. Yeah, there we go.
Ooh, it's cut it really close to these dolls on a couple of occasions. Ah! The dolls split. One went left, one went right. And Moomer had to cut down the middle. But they were already kind of moving down a little bit, so they thought to just keep going. Didn't want to having to risk turning and changing directions close to the boss, right? You're vulnerable when you do that, so opted to just try holding down and unfortunately got caught. Withheld is raiding with a party of 1. Welcome, Withheld. Nice job. Two racers left to go. I don't know which of these two is going to be our next finish. They've both been so close.
Well, Moo's right here at the end. Just got to hold it together for for 2 more boss fights, and that'll be enough to clear it out.
gotta say there's something in these guys' AI that makes them want to sort of divide and conquer, right? They're not like the mummies where they eventually all group up on the same square and start doing the same thing. They will as I say, there it is. See, they just split right there. They seem to have a way of doing that and putting you in bad situations. If they're heading straight at you, they'll always do an attack one square away from you before walking into you, giving you enough time to get hit and get iframes or walk away. Mooer with the kill and 8 asterisks left. By the way, Withal, congrats on finding some of the secrets in this dungeon. They were very tricky, and you were basically the only one to find them.
Yeah, not only that, but they were secrets I didn't know about. You found secrets that I had no idea about.
Oh, Mooer's looking.
Unfortunately, it was a little bit too high.
Okay, 8's not enough to do this. Is going to need to get more in the middle of the fight. I'm actually not sure if Mooer has seen that you can reveal those by hopping around. It's getting a little bit stubborn about staying on the middle tile. Okay, well, there's 10 more.
Yeah, he started with a good pattern where he could just jump vertically, and then the enemies, for whatever reason, started staggering.
Yeah, and you either want them very staggered, so you can jump each one individually, or you want them right on top of each other and you jump both at the same time. It's when they're kind of in between those two states that you have a problem, but it's not going to be a problem anymore. Puffer is also right here. You know, it's a little bit shaky on health. Oh, it barely squeaks past the boss. And is doing okay on ammunition. You'd want to see a little bit more. I'm not sure how many hits are left. 3 extra. That's pretty decent.
As long as Puffer, I think Puffer knows what to do for this fight. Oh, I like this. Puffer is searching for more secrets. Now, some of these players, I think, were in a call together, so it's possible that that they've been talking with each other and pointing out, hey, there's a lot of hidden stuff in this area.
Okay, the hearts get Puffer up to shooting star, and safely gets... Oh, it's going aggressive? No, doubles back. Was just hitting the tile to see if it would reveal something. Okay, so lost the shooting star in the process, but misses the first one, needs to connect with 10 out of the remaining 12 shots. Oh, man. Can only miss one, has one more leeway. That's it. These all need to hit, or this is going to get really bad. Oh no! One shot more. Oh, can Puffer actually find this hit?
Nope. Looks like we're going to see this one again.
Yeah, apparently there's like a tile you can just, like there's actually a tile you jump to on their chest, which is wild. I would never think to try that.
The good news is Puffer's got pretty much everything that he could benefit from. He's grabbed the extra asterisks in this room. He's going to grab the potion. I mean, this last segment, even though you got to do the 2 bosses, it really doesn't ask you to do anything other than that. So you can just focus on the bosses.
Well, had a little change in strategy, tried to get aggressive with the shooting star, which can work out well, but the approach was not quite there, and it went south quickly, causing Puffer to abandon and revert back to the shooting stars. Or the asterisks, rather. I guess the point was, hey, let me save some of these asterisks so that doesn't happen next time. Yeah, I have seen the speedrun. The speedrun is really cool. It treats these guys like any other high health enemy, like the mummies or whatever. It just kind of gets lined up with them and wails on them with the shooting star.
Puffer really wants that star. Oh, here we go. Using that potion.
Yeah, I like switching to the shooting star here. I don't know what a good number of asterisks to keep is. Obviously, I know now that the boss only takes 10 hits, and so having like 5 extra on top of the 10 in the room is probably good enough.
All right, this is a good position for Puffer to be in. This is a finish the race sort of position.
Agreed. Doesn't even need to go for the extras in the middle of the room. I think with 17, I think the accuracy on this is good enough from Puffer. The health is fantastic. The pattern is just great luck here as well.
That's it. Just has to avoid making a missed jump, and he should be good.
I think Pufferfish has got to feel pretty good about that. Well, they literally just said in race chat, I need to scream. So maybe I'm wrong about that. But I was gonna say they should be pretty happy with that because I don't know, there was, compared to some of the past races in the previous segments, they were right there with everyone else that time all the way through.
Yeah, Puffer has been, I think, pushing his limit on his game skills. He's a talented player. He has some experience. In particular, he plays a lot of Super Mario Maker, which is a game that definitely does not hold any punches. So he is definitely a talented player. He's joined in a lot of races for obscure games. I think he's in the Adventure Ball Club. I think he might be one of the players who has beaten Adventure Ball. So he's definitely a talented player, although I think he sometimes gets a little bit of a blind spot on things. But he's definitely showing his chops here. And he makes the biggest smart move here when your uncle asks you if you need to repeat the story. Puffer picks up on, I need to stop mashing A and I need to pick the correct answer. Yeah, I think Exuno's got it. It's a lack of experience with retro games that might be here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Startropics is actually older than Pufferfish King, so could totally see that. And there it is, the dot done. 2 hours, 50 minutes. Underestimate, I want to remind everyone. It was just a great performance all around from all our players today.
Yes, everybody did excellent today. Everybody's been doing great here. We had some rough play earlier in the series. We've had a couple of players who have unfortunately decided that the game has kind of gotten too difficult for them and they've decided to drop out. Some of them weren't quite having fun. But they're making great progress here. So we only have 2 more dungeons left in the game. This is the second to last segment. So we will be doing the last segment, not next week. Unfortunately, next weekend is Easter Sunday, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a break for that weekend, and that's going to give me a chance to figure out what the heck is going on with my internet here, because I shouldn't be dropping this often, unfortunately. So I'm going to look into that. But we will plan to do the last segment here in about 2 weeks from now. So I think that is going to be not the 4th, but the 11th. And then, as we talked about before, we'll plan to do some Myst the weekend after that. So if that's one you're looking forward to, you've been enjoying these races and you want to get in on it, we're going to broadcast a blind playthrough of Myst for the PC. So keep your eyes on the Discord in case you're interested in that. And we had some people talking before about other games that we could play. We threw out some ideas before. Those are discussed in the Discord. If you join our Discord, that's an opportunity to talk about that. If there's some games that you would like to play, throw those ideas out for everybody to sort of pick up on, and we will decide what we want to do. Thank you very much, Mythical9, for your commentary. You're doing back-to-back commentary today on 2 different races, so definitely getting your time in.
Yeah, but it was fun as always. Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's figure out where we're going to go from here. I think that's the end of the content we've got today. We've got more races coming up on the Mystery Funhouse channel. I think that they're still doing Heavy Troopa Tournament, so you keep an eye out. I don't think they've been restreaming a lot of those. I think we're starting to get later in the tournament where there's not as much going on for Heavy Troopa, so it's not quite as many races going on. We also have some other events. I think that Blasphemous Roar posted another event that's coming up. There's a mystery game development. There's a mystery game developer thing going on that you can sign up for as a solo or as a team, that you can develop some races. You can sign up as a member for a team and produce some games that are designed for racing. Twitch is not loading for me now. What's going on with Twitch? I'm looking to see if there's anything else exciting going on in the Twitch world, and I'm not seeing it. Here we go. Finally loading up. What's going on exciting today in the world? It looks like we've got... Puzzle General is doing some panel to pawn. Some of you folks might remember Puzzle General from years ago. They did a mystery puzzle tournament that a lot of us played in. So let's go ahead and let's watch some panel to pawn races on Puzzle General after this. Raid Puzzle General. Once again, as long as you keep up on our Discord, you'll have an opportunity to see all of the different upcoming content that we've got, including the future races of Startropics, as well as whatever segmented races we'll be doing after Startropics wraps up. Thank you for everybody joining us here on the Mystery Funhouse channel. I apologize for the technical difficulties we had. Hopefully we'll have those resolved so we won't be seeing those again. And thank you, Myth, for joining me. It's always great to see you.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure.
All right, and so we'll turn you over here to Puzzle General. You folks have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you again here on the Mystery Funhouse in 2 weeks when we finish up the rest of Startropics and we see what's going on an alien spaceship. Everybody have a good night, and we'll talk to you again next time here on Mystery Funhouse.